G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. With that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a brawn of the Barbie, and let's get right into it. Me and my wife's marriage has been horrible for the past year. My wife's sister recently moved in. We have a lot of fun together, and she made me realize how unhappy I am in my marriage, and I want to divorce. My wife and I have been married for 3 years. Our marriage has been horrible for me in the last year. My wife is always angry, negative, lazy, and blames everything that goes slightly wrong in her life on somebody else except herself. I'm a very outgoing and motivated person, and I like to go out a lot. My wife is less outgoing, but used to always try to make an effort to go out together and have fun. For the past year, she hasn't done anything in our marriage. She is addicted to her phone and TikTok and barely pays attention when I'm talking or we are doing something. We barely go out anymore, and if we do, she always finds something to get angry at, like a waiter taking a little too long. When we're out eating, she's on her phone watching TikToks and barely communicating with me. She always wakes up moody and angry, and she just destroys the whole vibe. She curses in every other sentence that she says, and huffs and puffs if she has to do something that normal grown adults have to. We have also not been intimate for the past 6 months, and it doesn't look like something's going to change. I always tell her how much I appreciate her, and that I love her, and try to do things together, but she always shuts me down when I suggest doing something because she is tired, but then proceeds to watch Netflix until 2 a.m. She never shows any affection or appreciation towards me. For the past year, I've tried to communicate to her that something needs to change in our marriage, but she just gets angry and avoids the conversation instead of talking. It has gotten to the point that I've stopped caring about our marriage and have just been going along and focusing on my personal life and goals. My wife's sister Elle has recently gotten out of a long-term relationship and has moved in with us temporarily. Elle is the complete opposite of my wife. She's happy, vibrant, talks, and is just fun to be around. Ever since she moved in, we've been spending a lot of time together because my wife doesn't do anything else other than watching Netflix and talking to her friends on FaceTime when she's home. On the rare occasion that she's not doing one of these things, she's out with her friends. Elle is a very active person, so we just do a lot of activities together. She joins me when I go to the park to get some fresh air, she helps me cook when I'm preparing dinner, and even works out with me in my home gym. I always try to get my wife to tag along with us, but she never does. Spending all this time with Elle has totally changed my mood. Being around a person that is positive and doesn't complain about every single thing in their life is so refreshing and fun. But don't get the wrong idea. We have never done anything inappropriate. We have just become really good friends that lift each other up. The past couple of months since Elle moved in have made me realize how unhappy I am in my marriage. Having someone around you that is constantly complaining, cursing, and angry drains every bit of energy that you have. It's depressing, and that's not how I want my life to be. I want to be with someone positive who shows that they care about me and wants to have new experiences together with me. I've tried so hard for the past year to make my marriage work with my wife, but I just get shut down. I don't feel loved anymore and appreciated, and I don't want to be in this position anymore. I want to divorce so I can move on with my life and find someone who actually loves me and cares for me. I have officially checked out of my marriage, and I don't want to turn back anymore. I'm just not completely sure how I should go about this situation now. I know for a fact that I'm going to get trashed by her friends and her family for leaving my wife, and that I'm somehow going to come out as the bad guy. I want this process to be as clean as possible, but I'm not sure how. And now in the comments, go see an attorney. Do what they tell you to do. Present your wife with papers. Done. OP says, yeah, I just need to do it and keep moving. Exactly. The first step is the hardest, but you know that in the end, you will be happier, and maybe the divorce will finally make your wife snap out of this negative loop and be a good thing for her too. I don't think people realize how negative they are, or maybe they do, and they want everyone to be unhappy too. I'm glad that you haven't been sucked into her negative thinking and actions. The way she is behaving may be indications of her resorting to escapism due to diminishing mental well-being. Perhaps you and her sister can compose an action plan to approach her gently so she can seek professional help. Remember, your feelings are completely valid. When someone else you love experiences mental health issues, it usually drags you down too. So please consider taking up individual therapy too, and perhaps couples therapy sometime too. She sounds like she's in a deep depression. I can totally see myself in this description when I'm at my worst with depression, and it's got nothing to do with how I feel about my partner. I don't know how to help. I'm on the other side, and I'm sure it's not a barrel of laughs for my partner either. I can only ask, would she be willing to explore the possibility that she needs help? I'd agree. Further, she probably feels like every criticism of the marriage is an attack on her. This drives defensiveness and depression as well. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it, but make an effort to tell her that it isn't to hurt her feelings, but that you need some actions taken. Framing it like a failing of hers isn't going to save anything. And now on to the update. My first post got a lot of traction. I appreciate all the supportive messages I've gotten, and especially all the people sharing their own experience. You definitely helped me to get some perspective in the matter. The past couple of days, I have been able to clear my head about my marriage. I realized that this is not how I want to spend the rest of my life. I want to be with someone who cares about me and loves me. She clearly doesn't. I want to be with someone who respects me enough to put her phone down when we're having dinner and I'm trying to talk to her and isn't ignoring me to watch TikToks. I'm done trying and getting nothing in return. I am done giving it my all and getting nothing back. I've been trying to communicate and to make things better for a whole year and have been completely neglected. I still have love for my wife, but I am not in love with her anymore. I want to move on with my life and find the right one for me and lead a happy life. I've already been in contact with my divorce attorney and am getting the process started. I turned 32 2 days ago and my wife didn't even acknowledge my existence. Instead, she went out with her friends that night. Even her sister remembered my birthday and got me a present. She was even shocked that my wife ignored my birthday like this. We ended up having dinner together at a restaurant, and she even paid for the both of us. I didn't even feel the need to mention my birthday to my wife because I knew that at this point, she didn't really care. This really made me lock in my decision. I don't care if she's depressed or not. If she doesn't even care enough about me to remember and acknowledge my birthday and rather goes out with her friends, I don't want to be with her. People kept saying that we should go to counseling and therapy to patch things out. For the past year, I've been trying to get my wife to couples therapy with me, but she just refuses and gets angry with me as always. I have tried everything I could have thought of to make my marriage work, but she pretty much shuts everything down that I try. I have tried so hard to make my marriage work and put in so much effort, but now I've had enough of it. A lot of people tried to diagnose my wife with depression in my previous post, but I'm not a medical professional, so I can only talk from my perspective. To me, it seemed like she was living her own life without me, and that she would get frustrated with everything that I got involved in. I'm not going to say if she doesn't have depression. That's not for me to determine. Whether she has it or not, I don't find that a valid excuse to treat me the way she has been for the past year. She didn't even have the respect to communicate and talk to me like a decent human being instead of being on her phone or ignoring me. If she has depression, she'll have to figure that out on her own without me. A lot of people were also suggesting that I just want a divorce to get with her sister. That's not true. I want a divorce so I can get myself out of this miserable marriage and so I can move on with my life. I have no plans on pursuing her sister. I'm getting this divorce for my own well-being. Elle said that she finds the divorce unfortunate, but that she supports my decision. She even suggested that we stay friends after because we get along great. When I told her that I was divorcing her, some little bit in me hoped that she would realize what has been happening in the past year and try to apologize and make things good again or something. Instead, she started getting angry with me and started yelling at me. As always, instead of taking responsibility, she started blaming me. At this point, I stopped caring and didn't respond to all her yelling. I told her that my decision was final. I also suggested her to see a medical professional to figure her possible depression out, but what she does with that advice is really none of my concern. Elle knew that something was up and tried to talk with my wife about what was going on, but pretty much got dismissed and yelled at for getting her nose in our business. For now, I'll be sleeping on the couch and living my own life. Elle informed me that she is moving out and was able to find a place, so I'll be taking the guest bedroom when she gets out. I'm in the middle of trying to figure things out with my lawyer, and hopefully we will be able to move fast in this divorce. But probably not. I'm mentally preparing myself for everything that will happen to me socially, and I accept that. I just want this to be over so I can move on with my life. And now in the comments, it takes two to tango. Be at peace knowing you did everything you could. You'll find someone better someday. And OP says, thanks. In fact, you've already found someone better. Yourself. You've got your own back, which is a massive thing and more than many people achieve. Be proud of that. I believe him that he's not romantically interested in the sister, but he's discovered that it's nice to live with a pleasant person. Being appreciated is underappreciated. OP is lucky to get out of that relationship. I also don't think he was romantically attached to Elle, she just showed him the path and how toxic his wife is. I think sadly, even if he was attracted, he made the right choice not to pursue it just yet. While they may be very compatible and end up being great together, the other alternative is that the bar is just, you're not as bad as my wife, which is a very low bar given his current situation. So I love that, through this, he is choosing to stay a bit sane and for now, avoid romantic entanglements. Also, having someone else's voice in your ear, someone else watching the situation and can say, you know, this doesn't seem right. It's also seeing the situation with fresh eyes. OP got so used to what his day-to-day life was like, he just seemed resigned. Having someone else come live with them and witness everything made him more conscious of how screwed things were. It's like when you have people coming over to your place, so you're cleaning, and all of a sudden you start noticing little things like smudges on the wall, or lint on the couch, or whatever. Depression can explain behavior, but never excuses it. Divorce is the correct choice. You can't make someone happy that doesn't want to be happy. And I've suffered from depression for years. And while yeah, I'm more angry and disconnected, I'm also very concerned about my husband. He's been my anchor in the worst depression, so I totally agree. It might explain a bunch of what's going on, and the fact that she changed, but it didn't excuse her choices at all. Our next post is titled, Wife has almost completely stopped taking care of our toddlers, I need help. So I'll try to keep this as short and to the point as possible. I work a 9 to 5 all week. Wife is a stay-at-home mum to our 2 children. We have a 3.5-year-old son and a 1.5-year-old daughter. An important thing to note is that we barely have any supportive family. Her parents are not in the picture, and my parents live 2 hours away. My wife has been diagnosed with postpartum depression. She refuses to take her medication. She says that she doesn't need it, but she does. Our son is potty trained, but our daughter is still in diapers. She always has a severe diaper rash due to my wife not changing her. She only changes her when our daughter leaks through and stinks, or when I remind her when I'm at work. The house is always a mess. My wife barely cleans. I do all of the laundry, cleaning, grocery shopping, bathing of our children, and their teeth brushing. Did I mention that I also work full-time? I'm also sure that they don't get a proper meal the entire day when I'm at work. They don't eat meals unless I make something or if I order takeout. Our kids sleep with us because my wife refuses to sleep train them. I hardly sleep despite working a 9 to 5. I'm mostly bitter about the lack of sleep. I don't know what to do anymore. I can't turn to family, my wife thinks that she doesn't have a problem, our kids run wild all day long, and when I come home, it's even worse. Has anyone else experienced this? I love my family, but this has to stop. She doesn't share her part of the workload. And now in the comments, this is an emergency situation. Your wife is having a mental health crisis and your kids are being neglected. You have to take action. Call whoever prescribed her the depression meds and explain the situation. They can help guide you to the next steps. In the meantime, try and get your kids into daycare or with your parents. And OP replies, I would have to agree. She needs to be on her meds first and foremost. I will be calling my parents to see if they can help for a week or so. I'm a stay-at-home mum to just a 2.5-year-old, and I need my weekly 6 hours that my mum takes him. Can you hire a babysitter for 1 day a week, or even on the weekend? That time away is critical for my mental health. Her doctor may even be able to do a 72-hour hold in a psych ward for her if she's having a breakdown. A friend of mine had something similar done when she realized she wasn't right. Doctor convinced her to go to the hospital where they adjusted her meds and she stayed until she showed improvement. The OP's wife sounded like she's even lost that perspective. This is a mental health crisis point. And yes, daycare and/or parent. The OP needs to stop thinking of this as, my wife is not taking her meds. Wife is acutely ill and isn't getting medical care, and the kids are neglected as a result. I had PPD when my daughter was born, and I was neglecting her and refused medication and basically everything your wife is doing. What my husband did was he gave me a 3-day notice to do something, or he was going to have to step in. This was his exact wording. I didn't know what that meant. I was angry at the world, so I called his bluff. I woke up on the 3rd day with my 8-month-old daughter gone, all of her and his stuff, and a note on the door saying, bills are paid, there's groceries for 2 weeks in the house, you can call me if you need anything. I quit my job and took our daughter up to my parents' house. You need help. Let me know what I can do to help you, and we can fix this. That was all I needed. I snapped back, took my medication, went to therapy. 3 weeks later, he moved back in. That was almost 7 years ago, and now I'm a stay-at-home mum to 2 kids, and I love every minute of it. A parent's first job is to the kids. Everything else is second. And now, on to the update. Things were horrific for us last week. I genuinely believed that my wife was suicidal. She would talk frequently about how she wanted to die and how death was so much easier than living. It freaked me out, and rightfully so. I called my parents once and for all. I told them everything that I wrote in the post, and more. They talked to her and demanded that she take the PPD medication, or else they would come down to our house. Mind you, my wife's parents are not in the picture. She says that she actually wanted my parents to come down to our house, and they agreed. My mum can be very brash, but it was effective in the end. My parents came down 2 days after I made the call. They called her doctor and made an appointment for her while they watched the kids. She was prescribed more depression and anxiety medication at a higher dosage. My wife has been taking her new medication for a full week now. Before anyone asks, I make sure that she takes it. She is 100% medicated, and I can tell a clear difference already. She is more relaxed now. It is helping tremendously. It took a day for it to kick in, but she seems healthier and happier so far. The house is cleaner, and the kids are well taken care of. The weather has been nicer, and she takes the kids outside all day when I'm at work, and they all love it. Some more miscellaneous things have happened. Both of my kids are sleeping in their own beds. To my dismay, neither child fought sleeping in their own room that they share. The first night was rough, late last week, but they both understand that they have to do it. Our daughter still wakes up once, but everything else is so much better at night. I love that we have our bed back. My parents paid for my wife to have her nails and hair done. They also watched the kids so she could have an entire day off. My parents bought the kids tons of new toys and books. This helps because they've been more entertained while my wife recovers. My parents arranged for my wife to see a therapist once a week. They are paying for it, and her appointments are after I get home from work. Her first appointment is tomorrow. My parents have left, but they're in contact every single day. My wife is embarrassed, but she says that she feels better. It's only been a week, and I don't know what the future holds. I think that's it. Please, no negative comments. I don't know if this is the perfect solution that everyone will agree with. This is what has happened. It is a daily battle. We will get through it. My wife knows that my parents and I will always love and support her. And also, keep in mind that it's only been a week. Progress has been made and is being made. Edited to add, I'm pretty sure that the comments were just locked on this post, so I can't respond anymore. Thank you so much to everyone. I appreciate every single comment and message. I know going forward that there will be good days and bad days. There has already been a very bad day since my parents left, but we got through it. I'm trying to establish a long-term fix, not just a band-aid. I plan on updating again in the future. Thank you to everyone again. And now in the comments, this is an amazing result. The biggest thing that spoke to me was, quote, she said she actually wanted my parents to come down to our house. Your wife knew that she had a problem and was willing to accept help. This is a massive and amazing first step. I'm a stay-at-home mum to a 1-year-old and an almost 3-year-old, and we do not have any family/support structure nearby, so I completely understand how hard it is and how lonely it can be. When she's ready, encourage her to reach out to some local mum clubs. If you're religious, or even if you're not, MOPS has chapters in pretty much every state. There are also usually toddler groups around, and also check out your local libraries for any story times and other kids' activities. I try to get out with my two at least 3 or 4 times during the work week, and then once as a family at the weekends. It can make a big difference. You are being a fantastically supportive husband and father, and you have wonderfully understanding parents. And OP replies, let me tell you, I was shocked when she agreed to have them come and stay with us. I was so relieved that she could look past herself and see that she needed help. We all need help. I hid how bad it was for so long. Totally random piece of advice, but would your parents pay for a YMCA membership? Your wife could have some me time, swim or exercise or whatever she wants, while the kids are being watched at the YMCA childcare. This would be down the road, of course, when she is more stable. And OP replies, I have mentioned a gym membership for us both. It's not because we need to lose a bunch of weight, but because I think it'll help us blow off steam. This will be a definite possibility in the winter. Definitely a YMCA membership. It was nice to just go drop off my kids for 2 hours at the daycare and sit in the hot tub and read. There were plenty of times where I would just go sit in the lobby and use the Wi-Fi. Why would anyone say anything negative? Everyone has struggles, everyone has difficulties, and it sounds like you and your parents have helped your wife with hers. That's what family should be about. And OP says, some people might think that we didn't do enough to help her. This is working for us so far. And now on to the final update. It has been several months since I have last updated on our situation. I left off with our lives being on the upswing. My wife had started taking her PPD medication, and my parents offered their help to get our family back on the right track. I last posted an update in October. In February, my wife found a man online and moved into his apartment. There was no warning. When I was at work, she moved all of her things out. She brought the kids back over in his car after I got home from work. She couldn't even look me in the eye. She explained that she wasn't happy, and she said that she has never been happy with me or the kids. She told me that I could have full custody, but she would send us some money once she gets a job. She also begged me not to take her to court. Luckily, my work was forgiving enough to give me a week off to figure everything out. My mother ended up moving in with us to help me avoid childcare costs. My father visits on weekends or whenever he can. Meanwhile, my soon-to-be ex-wife is having the time of her life with her new boyfriend. Before coronavirus, they were going on vacations and bar hopping. I'm sure they're having wild sex that we haven't had in years. They've been posting pictures online about how happy they are together. I have never seen her smile so much. He funds her kid-free lifestyle, so no wonder she's so thrilled. He has a child that he doesn't have custody of either. What a classy guy. It hurts so badly that I'm numb. I don't feel anything anymore. I have cried every single day. I'm sure I'm depressed, but I'm keeping it together for the kids. My parents have been my rock, but I feel terrible asking them for so much help in raising my children as a 34-year-old man. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm an essential worker, so thankfully I still have employment. That's the only blessing in my life aside from my kids. I never imagined my life would be this screwed up. It got so screwed up in a matter of months, I never saw it coming. Thanks to everyone that gave me advice previously. I don't think anyone can give me advice on how to get through this one, but I wanted to get my thoughts out. And now in the comments, it hurts a lot right now, and that hurt will be there for a long time, but it does get easier. You'll build a new life with your kids and make new happy memories. They'll get to have a close relationship with your parents. They will learn what it's like to grow up in a household where love and respect and kindness and caring are in abundance, and they will feel safe, secure, and happy. Someday you will feel a different kind of sadness, not for what she did, but for all that she left behind and missed out on. My cousin had something very similar happen. His wife announced that she had never been happy and then left the next day. Overnight, he became a single parent to 4 girls, 4-year-old twins, a 2-year-old, and a 5-month-old. We circled the wagons, because that's what friends and family do when they care about you and your kids. If you're worried about the childcare duties being a burden to your parents, start building your network of other friends and family who can help out. I'm not going to lie, the next couple of years were almost impossibly difficult, but one day, he got to chatting with a parent from his middle daughter's dance class. She was widowed and had one daughter the same age. A few months passed, and he asked if she'd like to get coffee. 18 months later, and they were married. They are about to celebrate their 10th anniversary, their 5 daughters have grown into wonderful young women, and they've built a happy life together. The ex-wife has come in and out of the picture, but hasn't maintained real relationships with any of the girls, and all my cousins can say is how sad it is that she will never know what she missed. Good luck. And OP replies, "Thank you for sharing this. I'm nowhere near ready to start dating again, but one day I will be. I don't know how the next year will pan out. I'll say this, my mum did this to me when I was 15 and my sisters were 2 and 8. I've honestly never forgiven her for it, and I loved my father a lot. He was a literal saint, and the courts would not remove my mother's custody rights in spite of her being a literal meth head and an alcoholic. Please get a lawyer and protect yourself and your kids. The fact that you're upset and crying and depressed means you're a human and a good person and not a psychopath. Please also take care of yourself. My father's depression slowly ate away at him until he died. You're a good person and a good man. You will make mistakes, but life isn't about being the best, it's about trying to be better." Wow, this just went from sad to effing depressing. I'm glad the guy is getting some help at least, but damn. I was so happy with the first update. Everyone came together and got her the help that she needed. It was so promising. And then the second one, my god, poor OP. This is really sad, but the thing that sticks out to me as odd is the medication thing. If she hadn't been taking any medication prior to the appointment, they would likely, absolutely not start her off on a higher dosage, as you usually need to titrate yourself up to the higher, more therapeutic doses. The "it took a day to kick in" thing is weird too. I've experienced feeling a little better in the days after taking meds, but not like a lot. Especially after apparently being depressed, etc. for so long. Though the placebo effect is strong, and having the in-laws there for support was likely helpful. Anxiety meds are usually more acute and fast-acting, so I can see that being a thing. Anyway, this sucks. Sorry, OP. I'm glad your parents are helping and supporting you, and I hope that you are doing better. As a person on anti-anxiety meds that went through PPD, I can vouch for this. It took about a month to get through the initial symptoms of starting the medication. Dizziness, nausea, extreme drowsiness, etc., to get to the part where I was more relaxed. They started at the minimum dosage, and then upped it as I acclimated. Sure, everyone is different, but it says right on the prescription to allow 2 to 3 weeks before contacting a doctor about the symptoms, and the doctor mentioned a month for the timeline before she prescribed it. I wonder if she faked getting better to get everyone off her back. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.